Have you ever sat alone, in complete silence, only to realize that the loudest thing inside the room was your own mind? No music, no notifications, no conversations. Just you and the endless noise inside your head. Thoughts racing from one memory to another. Regrets from years ago suddenly replaying like a movie you never asked to watch. Imaginary conversations, fears about the future, questions without answers, and worries that seem to multiply in the dark. And maybe you've wondered, why is my mind never quiet? Why do I feel uncomfortable when everything around me becomes silent? Welcome to Silent Mind Academy, a space where today we explore the hidden mechanisms of the human mind. And today, we're diving deep into one of psychology's most misunderstood truths. Silence does not create chaos inside your mind. It reveals the chaos that was already there. Human beings are not naturally comfortable with silence. In fact, most people spend their entire lives trying to escape it. We fill every empty moment with distractions. Social media, music, television, endless scrolling, podcasts playing in the background, constant conversations, and an addiction to stimulation. But why? Because silence forces us to meet ourselves. And, for many people, that meeting is terrifying. Modern psychology suggests that the brain is designed to constantly generate thoughts. Even when you are resting, your mind is active. Neuroscientists call this the default mode network, a system in the brain that becomes highly active whenever external tasks disappear. In simple words, when the outside world becomes quiet, the inside world becomes louder. Your brain begins replaying memories, imagining future scenarios, analyzing social situations, predicting danger, and trying to solve emotional conflicts. This is why silence often feels uncomfortable. It stands not because silence is dangerous, but because it removes the distractions that normally protect you from your own unresolved emotions. Think about the last time you couldn't sleep at night. The room was dark, quiet still. And suddenly, your mind became a battlefield. Every insecurity appeared at once. Every embarrassing moment from the past resurfaced. Every fear about tomorrow suddenly felt real. This happens because silence acts like a mirror. It reflects what you've been avoiding during the noise of daily life. Most people think peace comes from eliminating thoughts. But true psychological peace comes from changing your relationship with them. Your mind produces thoughts, the same way your lungs produce breath. Automatically, continuously, naturally. The problem is not that thoughts appear. The problem is that we believe every thought deserves our attention. Psychologists have discovered that the average human mind experiences thousands of thoughts every single day. Many of them are repetitive, negative, irrational, or emotionally exaggerated. Yet, most people treat every thought as truth, and this creates suffering. A single anxious thought becomes a spiral. What if I fail? Turns into, what if my entire future collapses? One painful memory becomes an identity. One fear becomes a prison. The mind never stops talking, because survival has always depended on prediction. Your brain evolved to scan for threats constantly. Thousands of years ago, this helped humans survive predators, famine, and danger. But today, the same brain reacts to social rejection, uncertainty, and emotional pain, as if they are life-threatening emergencies. That's why your mind keeps replaying conversations. That's why you overthink small mistakes. That's why silence can feel unbearable. Your brain believes it is protecting you. But sometimes, protection becomes imprisonment. There's a fascinating psychological experiment where participants were placed alone in a quiet room with nothing to do except sit with their thoughts. Shockingly, many participants preferred giving themselves mild electric shocks rather than sitting alone in silence. Think about that for a moment. People chose physical discomfort over mental stillness. Why? Because silence exposes the restless nature of the human mind. We are taught how to work, compete, produce, and consume. But almost nobody teaches us how to sit quietly with ourselves. And without that skill, silence feels like drowning. But here is the paradox. The very thing you avoid may be the thing that heals you. Because beneath the noise of your thoughts, there is awareness. And awareness changes everything. When you begin observing your thoughts, instead of obeying them, something extraordinary happens. You realize you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of them. This idea appears in psychology, mindfulness practices, philosophy, and ancient spiritual traditions across the world. Your thoughts are events happening inside the mind. They are not your identity. Imagine sitting beside a highway, watching cars pass by. Some cars are beautiful. Some are damaged. Some are loud. Some are dangerous. But you do not jump into every car. You simply watch them pass. Thoughts work the exact same way. A peaceful mind is not a mind without thoughts. It is a mind that is no longer controlled by every thought. This understanding can completely transform your life, because most suffering comes from unconscious identification. You think anxious thoughts, so you believe you are anxious. You think sad thoughts, so you believe sadness defines you. But thoughts are temporary mental weather. They come. They go. And, like storms, they eventually pass. And yet, modern society profits from your inability to stay still. Every app competes for your attention. Every platform wants to occupy your mind. Silence has become rare because distraction has become an industry, and distracted people are easier to influence. When your mind is constantly overstimulated, you lose connection with yourself. You stop listening to your inner world. You become reactive instead of conscious. This is why many people feel emotionally exhausted, even when they've done nothing physically demanding. Their nervous systems never rest. Their minds never stop consuming. And eventually, the soul becomes tired. Psychologists call this cognitive overload. Too much information, too many decisions, too many inputs. Your brain was never designed for endless stimulation 24 hours a day. Yet, millions of people wake up and immediately flood their minds with noise, before even taking a single conscious breath. Notifications, emails, videos, arguments, opinions, news, comparison, fear. The mind becomes crowded, and in crowded minds, clarity disappears. But silence, real silence, creates space. And space allows healing. This is why solitude can feel so transformative. It means not loneliness, but solitude. There is a difference. Loneliness is feeling disconnected from others. Solitude is reconnecting with yourself. Some of history's greatest thinkers intentionally sought silence. Philosophers, writers, inventors, monks, psychologists, and artists understood something modern society often forgets. Clarity is born in quiet environments. Your deepest insights rarely arrive during chaos. They arrive during stillness. During walks alone, during moments without distraction, during silence. But reaching that silence is difficult because the mind resists it. At first, when you sit quietly, the noise becomes louder. Unfinished emotions rise to the surface. Suppressed memories appear. Anxiety intensifies. This causes many people to quit immediately. But this stage is normal. Imagine shaking a dusty room that hasn't been cleaned for years. At first, the dust fills the air, and visibility gets worse. But eventually, the dust settles, and the room becomes clean. Your mind works the exact same way. Silence first reveals the chaos before creating peace. And this is where transformation begins. It comes not by escaping thoughts, not by fighting your mind, but by learning to witness it without fear. One of the most powerful psychological shifts happens when you stop asking, "How do I silence my mind?" and start asking, "Why am I afraid of hearing it?" Because often the endless noise in your head is carrying emotional messages you've ignored for years. Stress, grief, loneliness, unprocessed trauma, fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of meaninglessness. Silence brings these emotions forward because healing requires awareness, and awareness requires stillness. This is why meditation has become so powerful in modern psychology. It stands not because meditation magically erases thoughts, but because it teaches observation without attachment. You learn to sit with discomfort without immediately escaping it. And slowly, the mind begins to soften. Not because thoughts disappear, but because your relationship to them changes. There's another important truth most people never realize. Your environment shapes your internal noise. Constant stress creates constant thinking. Unresolved conflict creates mental repetition. Fear creates obsession, and comparison creates insecurity. If your mind is always loud, your life may be demanding more emotional energy than you realize. Sometimes, the solution is not controlling thoughts harder. Sometimes, the solution is changing the conditions, creating those thoughts. Rest more, slow down, spend time in nature. Reduce digital overload, protect your attention. Create moments without stimulation. Your nervous system needs recovery just as much as your body does. And perhaps, most importantly, stop believing that a busy mind means a broken mind. It doesn't. You are human. The mind thinks, the heart feels. That is part of being alive. The goal is not permanent silence. The goal is inner balance. To become someone who can experience thoughts without becoming enslaved by them. someone who can sit alone without panic, someone who can hear silence without needing to escape it. Because eventually, if you stay with silence long enough, you discover something beautiful. Beneath the noise, there is wisdom. Beneath the anxiety, there is awareness. Beneath the mental chaos, there is a deeper self, deep within, that has been waiting patiently for your attention. And maybe the reason your mind has never been quiet is because it has been trying to tell you something all along. Not to destroy you, not to punish you, but to guide you toward the parts of yourself that need healing most. So tonight, before you reach for another distraction, pause. Sit in silence for a few moments. Listen carefully. Not to the noise, but to the awareness behind it. Because the moment you stop running from your mind may be the moment you finally begin understanding it. This is Silent Mind Academy. And remember, silence is not empty. It is full of answers.